We've got such a very wonderful question right there on your screen. We are told that the sum of the squares of two consecutive odd numbers is 290, and then we are told what is the product of the numbers. So that is a very interesting question to jog our minds with, and actually the most interesting thing is that there are two major ways to work out this question, and actually I'll show you one of the easiest ways after I show you the first method, so be sure to stick along. So we are told that the sum of the squares of the two consecutive odd numbers is 290. So the first thing that you are supposed to do is to establish the two numbers that we are talking about, and then from there we can be able to do some operations, and we can now be able to factor in all the information that you've been given. So the first thing to note is that the numbers, they are consecutive odd numbers. So that implies that if we have the first number like that being odd, the number that follows is an even number, and then the numbers that follows from there is the odd number. Therefore we are not interested with this. We are interested with this one, x and x plus 2. Therefore that are the numbers that we have in consideration. So we are supposed to find the sum of their squares. So we pick this one, this first odd number, we square it, and definitely that is going to give us an x squared. We write it there. And now finally we have this one, x plus 2, we square this. I hope that you do remember how to square these numbers right here. The way that we can easily square them is by squaring the first element, which is an x, we get x squared, and then we square the last element, which is a 2, to get a 4, and finally we multiply everything that we can be able to see here. We multiply 2 by x, we get a 2x, and then we multiply it by 2 to get a 4x. Therefore we write plus 4x. So this is what we are supposed to write here. That is x squared plus 4x plus 4. This is the sum of the squares of these two consecutive numbers, and we are told the result is 290. Therefore we are going to write 290 right there. So we go ahead and simplify this. We have x squared plus x squared, and that is going to give us a 2x squared. And we have here that is plus 4x. I believe we can simplify this. We can pick 290 to this side to get 4 minus 290 is equals to 0. Let's see what we get from here. We have 2x squared plus 4x. 4 minus 290, that is 286. From here we can see that all these numbers, they are multiples of 2. Therefore we can divide by 2 to just get to simplify it further, and by dividing by 2 we will be able to get a more simplified version of this equation, and that is going to give us x squared plus 4x divided by 2, that is 2x, and then we have minus 143 is equals to 0. So from here you can use the method that you find more easier for you to solve it, but for us we are going to use the factorization method, which is actually a bit more straightforward, where we find the sum of the numbers to be 2 and the product of those two numbers to be negative 143. We find for those two numbers, they are definitely 13 and negative 11. So that is what we are going to use for our expansion. Therefore we are going to write x squared, and then we have plus 13x minus 11x minus 143 is equals to 0. So what do we do next? We factor out what is common in each and every pair of this. So what is common here is an x, so we have x, then into brackets x plus 13, on the other side we've got minus 11 is what is common there, so we factor it out to get an x plus 13 is equals to 0. So that implies that x minus 11 multiplied by x plus 13 is equals to 0, and that further suggests that it is either x minus 11 is equals to 0 or x plus 13 is equals to 0. So taking the first case, what we get is that x is equals to 11, and from the second case we get the value of x as negative 13. So if we take the first case, then that would imply that our first number would be definitely 11, and the second number would be 11 plus 2, because we had said that the second odd number is x plus 2, so that would be 13, which would suggest that the product is 11 multiplied by 13, which is 143. So if we take the second case, then that would imply that our first number is negative 13 and our second number is negative 13 plus 2. Negative 13 plus 2, that is negative 11, which would suggest that the product would be negative 13 multiplied by negative 11, which would give us 143. So that is the product of those two numbers. But then again, I had promised you that I'm going to show you an easier way to solve this, and we have it right here. If this question is asking us about the product of those numbers, then the question is simply telling us find if the first number is x and the second number is x plus 2, then it is asking us to find the value of x into brackets x plus 2, and that is simply x squared plus 2x. And to get this, it is much easier than finding the value of x and finding the value of the second number. Why? Because we have already x squared plus 2x right here with us. I believe you can be able to see that. That is this one over here. That is x squared plus 2x. How can we be able to find that? We can easily be able to find that by simply taking this negative 143 to the other side to get 143, which is actually the solution for that. But if you are able to get your solution as 143, then you should be able to get all the points for that question, and that was the required solution for that.
Visit our website now, countacymathematics.co.ke, to ignite your passion and excellence in mathematics.